I just thought we'd swish in. Hi, everyone. It's Emil. It's Emil Guillermo. Emil, Amok to you. Welcome to my takeout, my takes, and all things considerable. Lots to consider, of course. I mean, it's a Tuesday before the holiday. They're going to dump things like on Wednesday, or things are going to happen on Wednesday, so they'll dump. So it's news on Thursday when you're all like grilling your vegan hot dogs, not thinking about a darn thing. And chances are you're taking Thursday and you're taking Friday and you're taking Saturday and Sunday. And oh my God, this is white Juneteenth, right? When the holiday's on a Wednesday or Thursday, you just take the whole damn time off. Oh, I know some people are working on Friday. I know some people are, but not many. Anyway, hi, welcome. And it's hot. I know it's hot everywhere. It's hot. It's hot in where I am in California. It's already in triple digits, and climbing. We're not at the apex yet for the day, and it's strange because usually it's kind of the opposite. And I have friends on the East Coast, and they're sweltering. It's hot, but no, it's only like 80. Low 90s. I say, hey, it's kind of nice now. But see, they have the humidity. We don't have the humidity where I am. I mean, it's hot, triple digits, maybe even hotter in my closet. But I don't know, at least is my face looking waxy, like a melted candle? Like maybe that's Joe Biden's. No, see, that's not Joe Biden's problem. Look, Joe Biden still has a problem. We thought maybe the whole Supreme Court thing would like change the conversation and Joe Biden would suddenly come out as the defender of the Constitution. But it's not happening that way because other news is coming out. We got polls coming out now. One poll shows that Donald Trump has eked forward beyond the margin of error. 49 to 43, he's leading Biden, 49 to 43. And, the weird thing about this is a national poll. It's a snapshot. Things will change, they say. But, it's funny how that national snapshot has stayed remarkably the same. If you looked at one poll in particular, the CNN poll, it's been around that 48, 49, 4 or 5 points difference with Trump in the lead. And after the debate, it a little surge forward for Trump, but not what you'd call a insurmountable surge. But of course, that was not the thing that the Biden camp was looking for. The Biden camp was looking for a real game changer so they could say, hey, we've reset this. We're going forward. We've overtaken Trump. And now they're like fighting for their lives. I mean, they have not been able to recover from the stumble of the debate. And it really wasn't a bad stumble if you think about it. He had a scratchy voice. I know what that's like. It was late. He was tired. He didn't have the energy. But, the guy has proven his ability to handle things. If you see how he's gone from here to Asia, from here to Europe, from here back and forth, and the Ukraine, the guy is not... I mean, some people say, come on, they only show you what they want to show you. You don't see everything. And it's not like Jack LaLanne out there. He's not willing to, swim across the San Francisco Bay, from Alcatraz to the shore with a bathtub tied to his ankle. Okay, he's not that fit. But really, I thought aside from a few what they call the senior moments, he wasn't that bad. It was bad because when you're stuck in there, you got nowhere to go, and you can say, look, folks. I thought though he did okay, but now he's paying the price. We thought that Supreme Court decision. By the way, I write about the Supreme Court decision on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog. Biden was out there saying, we don't have a king in America. No, we don't have a king in America. It's not right to say. I mean, kings do not belong in America. We have a Demi-King. A Demi-King? Is that like a demi-more? No, demigod. Like a demigod? We have a Demi-King. Half king, half president. All trouble. Because if you get the wrong guy in there, a Demi-King means full corruption. And that's the problem when you have a Demi-King. Now, as I point out in my column on ALDEF, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, aldef.org/blog, we've never in our history had to worry about this because we can always assure ourselves that only good people want to be president. Only good people will attain that height, will get the votes and get the support. But no, we have people like Donald Trump. And now we have to worry about this because the Demi-King decision, which I call it, enables Donald Trump. It doesn't prevent Donald Trump from happening. It enables him. That's the sad part. We've never had this in our history, and we've never had it because we've had good people, but now when we have it, this rule, the rule is to enable the guy who is most likely to be the Demi-King. It's not Joe Biden. Joe Biden would not be a Demi-King. I mean, he says there's no kings in America. Right. There's no kings, only Demi-Kings. Well, who will have the bombacity to want to be a Demi-King in America? But Donald Trump, if he's elected, which should be a winning issue for Joe Biden and the Democrats. But they can't overcome this debate issue. It should be a slam dunk winning issue for the Democrats. Yes, we don't have a Demi-King, and if you elect that guy, number 45, he's going to be the Demi-King. And a Demi-King, that means half president, half king, all corrupt. Because a Demi-King will not have the restraints of knowing he could be held accountable. A Demi-King would be free of prosecution. He would be immunized, criminally immunized by the court decision on Monday. That's why you got to be scared. That's what you have to be fearful of. Meanwhile, there's Donald Trump saying, "Oh, what a great thing for democracy. I can expand my vision of democracy." Yeah, and become a Demi-King and live out the Demi-King fantasy. He will. So it's just frustrating to see this happen, because ordinarily if Trump was exposed on debate night as just being a liar and Biden had his normal night where he could just stand tall like he did in the State of the Union and deliver his speech, we'd be talking about Joe Biden's going to protect the Constitution. Joe Biden is going to protect America from having a Demi-King. Joe Biden is the guy who can make sure our democracy stays intact after 248 years. But now, the speech that Biden gave yesterday, where he quoted heavily from Sonia Sotomayor's opinion, her dissent of the Roberts majority opinion of the Demi-King doctrine. I guess that you can call it the Demi-King decision, where, by golly, a president should be free of any kind of prosecutorial fears. The president should be undeterred by any kind of prosecution. He can commit any criminal acts because he's president, or as we like to say, the Demi-King. But Joe Biden's not going to have that opportunity because he's fighting for his life. He's fighting for his political life. And a lot of things are starting to leak now in terms of high-ranking Democrats saying it's time to go, Joe. The generational bridge is down. You flunked it. Tim Ryan, the meditating Democrat, former congressman from Ohio, lost to J.D. Vance. Too bad, because Tim Ryan's a good guy. He's come out and said, look, Kamala Harris is the person. You want to excite the American public, Democrats, you want to excite the electorate, you get Kamala Harris out there. I know one thing, Kamala Harris will excite the Republicans because they're already thinking Kamala Harris is the second coming of Hillary Clinton. They already think that, oh, God, we got Joe Biden falling down. You seen that ad, right? Joe Biden falling down. And he said, and he's the guy who wants to be president again, but maybe not, and we can't wait. And then they show a picture of Kamala Harris. The GOP, the Republicans, have made merciless fun of Kamala Harris during the last 4 years. And the Biden camp has been trying to protect her and keep her from being the whipping boy. But Harris is tough, and she went out there after the debate. She stood by Joe Biden. She was loyal to him. She said, look, Joe Biden had a slow start, but he's the guy. He's the best one. He's the best choice. When you start seeing Kamala Harris say things like, well, let's see what happens. When you start seeing her get tentative about Joe Biden, then you know things are starting to change. The key, listen to Kamala. She'll know. She's in the room. The campaign has raised hundreds of millions of dollars. All that money would be shared by Harris. All that money that's already raised, anyone new would have to do some fast organization to get money, to build a network, to do all the things to build a campaign in 4 months. And so Tim Ryan, in his Newsweek op-ed, this came out today, is probably the sanest when he says, look, give it to Harris. Don't even think about Gretchen Whitmer out of Michigan. Although it makes sense. You want to get the Michigan, the battleground state. That's one way to make sure you get Michigan, get Gretchen Whitmer. But you already have the first African-American, first South Asian American vice president on the ticket, and you're going to replace her with a white woman? Not good. Unless you make her vice president and then you have an all-female ticket. That would be, now here I am. I was saying, I'd like to see Joe Biden, try to work this out. But here I am already talking about a Harris Whitmer ticket and how that could symbolize something that would excite the youth, excite the women, and it would be enough to overtake Donald Trump. Because here's the thing, no one likes, the people who like Donald Trump like Donald Trump. And that's kind of like, yes, Emil, tell me something we don't know. Well, there's a large number of people in the middle, undecideds, and they're swayable, and they want someone else. It's like 53%. Listen, that's the wrong poll there. But there's a large number of people who want to see someone else besides the two choices they have. And right now, the CNN poll, choice for president if Democratic candidate is, if it's Joe Biden, Trump beats him 49-43. If it's Kamala Harris, Trump only has a 2-point lead, 47-45 over Harris. But Trump beats Buttigieg, Newsom, and Whitmer. What if you put Harris and Whitmer? That might be enough to overtake Trump. That's all I'm saying. I mean, you want to be strategic about it. That's one way to look at it. But we're starting to hear stories about top-ranking Democrats saying, that's it, time to change. But if you're going to change, there's only one person who makes sense. And according to the polls, right now, she does better than Joe Biden, and that's Kamala Harris. Better than Joe Biden against Trump head on. And once people really got to know Kamala Harris, I think they would like her. I mean, right now, no one knows Kamala Harris. The right has had her on defense, has attacked her. A number of really negative magazine pieces throughout the last 2-3 years, I think have hurt her. I think the Biden administration has tried to give her different assignments. But who has been effective? Who has helped Joe Biden out more than the Democrats want to acknowledge? Kamala Harris. I think more than anyone, she deserves the shot. And that's why when I saw Tim Ryan's op-ed in the Newsweek op-ed piece, I thought calling for Harris to be the person, why not? Why not? At this point, why not? At this point, I think those of you who are really stuck on Joe Biden because tradition, because he's there, because, the mechanics this late in the game, yeah, I get it. You switch this late. It may not be wise. You don't have the operational wherewithal to really mount a winning campaign. Think Hubert Humphrey, Minnesota, when he got into the game late, he lost for the Democrats. I think the only one, and she's not as well known as she could be, or we don't know her as well, but we know her enough so that you put her head to head with Donald Trump and she's does better than Joe Biden at this point, where we are now. So I think, I think we got to go if we go there. I don't want to say, I want to see if Joe gets better. I saw some reports today that said Joe felt humiliated by what happened at the debate. I think maybe he should have called in sick. I mean, the voice, if your voice isn't good, doesn't matter what you say. Because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can't believe they let Joe Biden out there knowing he had a scratchy throat, knowing that it was 9 o'clock, knowing it was past his bedtime. Usually you have a debate and you're all wired, you got the adrenaline flowing. That's not an issue, but it was that night. I'm still willing to say that's one night. I think the Democrats who are starting to panic worry me a little bit because really it shouldn't be this way after one debate. But like I said, if it is, I think they should look at number 2. And people who know me know I'm not necessarily or have been a big Kamala Harris fan throughout the years. But I actually have been impressed by how she's comported herself, how she has, people try to put her down on the right saying, word salad. There's no word salad. She's a smart cookie. She's intelligent. And I think, what a look. The first African-American, first South Asian American president. She's that first as a vice president, but to be the first president, it's history. It's history. That's something appealing. And she'd excite African Americans. She'd excite young people. She'd excite Asian Americans, Hispanics. I think she could win. But I respect Joe Biden. And I think in the next coming days, there are going to be talks with senior Democrats in the Congress coming to meet. I think the governors are meeting with them. Everyone's worried about the down ballot issues. And I think it is going to be a time, and I mentioned this the other day, a time for, Joe Biden to really talk about this and ask himself the tough questions. I mean, in my column on debate night, I said post debate, who needs to make the tougher choice, voters or Joe Biden? And I wasn't sure. I wasn't willing to say, oh, Joe Biden's going to have to make a decision. But I did say, let's go back that. It was toward the end. I was just considering what had happened. And I said, that Democrats didn't figure they'd need a pep talk prior to Thursday. What would be more telling is if Joe Biden looks at the debate video the day after. Would he like his own performance or be honest enough to make the tough call himself for his party and his country, to retire graciously into private life? After the debate, we may be at that point. And, I was just thinking about that, all right, we have some time. There's a convention coming up. The convention could be the passing of the baton. It doesn't have to be a fractious kind of, delegate count competition. If there could be some kind of orchestrated way that Joe Biden leaves up top, the Democrats cheering him on, and then passing the baton to, at this point, it looks like Vice President Kamala Harris would be the best. And then the intrigue would be who would be her number two. I mean, if you did something like that, that could be a way that Democrats could consolidate and survive this. I'm not saying they do, but they might be able to. They just might be able to. But right now we're still in Stubbornville, and we're still thinking, can Biden pull this out? Or how can Biden pull this out? And frankly, I don't know if he can. But I'm not rooting against him. I'm not rooting for him. I'm just saying, hey, if he can figure out a way to run, I mean, the thought was he's a better man than the lying Trump. No matter what, Joe Biden with half a brain is better than a full-brained, ornery, lying Donald Trump. Joe Biden asleep is better than an awake Donald Trump. I mean, just an awake Donald Trump will watch your wallet, right? I mean, the thing about an awake Donald Trump now with this new SCOTUS decision, criminally immune. So I want to go back to that decision, because that decision, it's not just about Trump. I mean, a lot of people aren't talking about it. A lot of people aren't thinking about it because they say, oh, no, it's not going to happen in our time. Yeah, it's going to happen in our time. If we have Donald Trump, it's going to happen in our time when the president is a Demi-King. But here's the other thing, right? Demi-Kings could do anything they want, anything criminal, up to and including killing a political opponent. I mentioned in my column that what if you're an Asian American activist working to stave off a right-wing attempt to end birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment in the United States versus Wong Kim Ark? I mean, it's one of the things that the Republicans want to do. I mean, say you're annoying to the point that you're considered an enemy and targeted by the 47th president, wherever that might be, but perhaps it's Trump. The 6-3 decision on Monday allows the president to order FBI wiretaps and background checks and harassment and allows you to be put under surveillance. And you say, hey, isn't there a foul there? Invasion of privacy, something? No, not after Trump v. U.S. It's an official action. You can do anything. Immunity from prosecution. And it's so loosely defined. If you say, well, what's an official action? What's an unofficial action? Well, it'll take the courts to decide, and it's so loosely defined that there's a presumption of immunity. So it does put a man, the old phrase, no man is above the. In an official capacity, the president is above you and me and above the law. It is the making of a Demi-King. So I just think that, we got to think about this Supreme Court case as something that goes beyond Trump. It's not Trump. It's not Biden. It's not even the cases. The chances of getting a corrupt person in there is greater because someone can go in there and use official power to take advantage of being president. Oh, like we haven't seen that already with President 45, the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. And the push, remember, people were trying to push for the emolument clause because clearly something was going on where Trump was benefiting from being president in a private way when he shouldn't have. Well, all this now says, hey, all those sins of Donald Trump, the conservative Supreme Court just said, it's okay, Donald, you're good, you're cool. So Neil Katyal, the South Asian American legal stalwart, former acting Solicitor General, now a professor at Georgetown Law, was on television last night. He said, look, we have to not think about this in terms of Trump, but just this is a bad law, and we have to think about protecting our democracy. And he thought about Robert Jackson, the Supreme Court justice back in the 40s, who took the Korematsu case, the Japanese internment case, and he was a lone dissent. And he said, this case is like a loaded gun. It was exactly the same phrase that Sonia Sotomayor used. This case is like a loaded gun for someone who could pick it up and use it to do whatever he wants, whatever he or she wants. A loaded gun. Sotomayor said it's a loaded weapon for any president that wishes to place his own interest, his own political survival, or his own financial gain above the interests of the nation. Yeah. Sound like someone we know? And then she says, but now it's done. The relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably in every use of official power. The president is now a king above the law. Oh, bite your tongue, Justice Sotomayor. Still just a demi-king in a democracy. But essentially a king. So in my piece on the ALDEF blog, I wrote about how do we fight this? I mean, that's a decent question. I mean, I don't know anyone. I saw a number of people on the street, and no one's talking about this, although this really should be the topic. Not whether or not Joe Biden can debate or not. Look, you want a test of what someone can do as a president? Joe Biden has had 4 years. Compare the 4 years against the 90 minutes. You want to look at Donald Trump? How did he fare? Look at January 6th, 2020. Look how he managed as the Capitol was being ransacked. Donald Trump did nothing. Nothing. He watched television. He looked like an arsonist, admiring his work. That's why Donald Trump was disqualified before the debate. Before the debate. But now this law says, hey, we're not going to prosecute Donald Trump for anything he did on January 6th or anything he didn't do. So how do we fight? Well, Neil Cotdale said, we got to hope that there's 5 or 6 justices who are going to end this law. Reverse it. Throw it out. Unconstitutional. Because it is unconstitutional what it does, putting one man above the law. Never the intent of the framers, the originalists. How did we get this? Politics. So, if we're dealing with a political court, how do we practically deal with this issue? Well, you use the best weapon there is in our system, your vote. And you give that vote to the good ones, the ones who disavow dictatorship and autocracy. They're the ones who believe in the revolution that overthrew a king, gave us the 4th of July, and established our America. Vote. Vote for the good ones. Don't give your vote to those who would allow for a Demi-King, not in a democracy. That's how you fight it. And unfortunately, it is a kind of long process. I mean, it's not like you can't instantly extricate it. You got to wait till you get the number of justices who can get together and say, hey, you know that Demi-King doctrine that we just passed, that's a bad law, and then get it out of here. You elect presidents who will pick and select the right people who will make the right laws. But we've had some tough years since Alito got on in 2007, 2006, 2007. He was quiet at first. Oh, turned out to be a monster. Clarence Thomas, quiet at first, turned out to be a monster. They should have recused themselves too, both Alito and Thomas. But there's no amount of honesty left in the court that would allow for that. So this is what we get. A bad law that we're going to live with for some time. Neil Cotdale said, oh, it's going to be gone, but it could take decades. It could take decades. And as I said, this could be the law that enables a second term of Trump to be, well, he wants to be dictator for a day, but he could be Demi-King for all 4 years if he gets reelected. And just because there are term limits on the presidency doesn't mean that he could defy that law too. Demi-King. At that point, I think we'd have a king. Oh, and then what? They pass on. They pass on the power through birthright. Oh my God. Baron Trump is president. Demi-King. So anyway, some things to think about. Some things to think about as we approach our 4th of July, 248th birthday. This has never happened. We've never had to think about this. Never had to think about it. We were thinking about it now. We're thinking, what the? So, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and it's bothersome. Okay, I think I mentioned everything that I wanted to mention today. Except for, Klay Thompson is going to go to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't want to say I have a special relationship with the Dallas Mavericks, but I lived in Dallas when the Mavericks started, and I saw the Mavericks' first game ever. I reported on it out of the old Reunion Arena. They play now out of a new arena. But I always had a soft spot in my heart for the Dallas Mavericks. Also, Jason Kidd is the coach. He's from the East Bay in California, Northern California. I remember seeing the Mavericks when they were bad, seeing them when they were good. They're okay now. They have Jokic. They have Kyrie Irving. And now Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was very frustrating last year. You loved him because of what he did as a Warrior in the past. Great backcourt with Steph Curry, Draymond Green. I thought they should have gotten rid of Draymond Green, but Draymond Green is sort of like he's your bulldog. Curry's your scorer, so you needed a second scorer, and Thompson wasn't doing that. He was like 0 for 10 in the final game, last final, with the last playoff game he played in. And it was clear that he's not the player, and the Warriors weren't going to give him $50 million. That's all it would have taken to keep him, but they weren't willing to pay him. So someone else is, and it's too bad because even if the Warriors are bad, if you know they're your guys, you can live with it. It's almost like the Joe Biden thing, right? Get rid of him now. No. And, when you get sentimental, you say, it's like granddad. It's like, remember the family. You start thinking like in terms of sports teams, and getting rid of Joe Biden is like, sure, where do I stick him? I mean, you don't care. Maybe that's the trick. We all have to look at it like we're getting rid of our favorite basketball player on our team. For me, that would be Klay Thompson, who I have met a couple times. Well, first of all, these guys are big, right? I mean, they're like 6'8", 6'9", and I'm this little Filipino guy. You go up there, you ask them questions, as a member of the media. Ask for, if they like you, they'll talk to you all day. If they don't, forget it. So he was always cool to me, and it didn't hurt because I remember all the things he did when he played great for the Warriors. Then he got hurt. Then it was tough. Still, I would have liked to see the Warriors keep him, but I guess I'm ready to say, yeah, Klay Thompson, good luck. See you later. I mean, Steph Curry was all right with it. What could have happened is all those guys could have said, hey, look, I'll take 10 million less, keep Klay. They didn't do that. They could have. I mean, if they wanted to engineer the team, someone could have stepped up and done that, but they didn't. So I think we should be all right with it. I mean, I'm done with the nostalgia over baseball and basketball and the sports figures. I mean, it's been tough. Orlando Cepeda passed away. Willie Mays passed away. Klay Thompson is leaving the Warriors. I mean, it's not easy if you're a sports fan and all your favorite players are going. But as I'm growing up and maturing, I guess I should have the same feeling about Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe, go. Go, Joe. And Kama, come on in. And like I said, I've got a history with Kama. I reported some things about what she did, or I wrote opinions that were not favorable toward her, but they were not, she's got a thick skin. Whatever I say couldn't hurt her. But I guess she saw me as just, if she recognized me, I would just be one of those inconsequential media people gnawing at her leg, get out of here. But look, I'm not I'm not biased, like I'm not rooting for her, but I'm saying if I were in a rooting position, I'd say, yeah, Kamala, she should be the top of the ticket. Who else? This is going to go on for a couple weeks. And then we're going to get to the convention. And I think before then, Joe Biden will have a solid decision, or the ship will be sinking. I mean, I guess that's really it. I mean, we're just starting to see the first polls now. If a preponderance of polls show a slippage, then, and right now, the first poll to come out, CNN did, release it today, showed that Kamala Harris does better than Joe Biden in a head-to-head matchup with Trump. Trump beats her 47-45, which is still in the margin of error, which is 3.74 points. So that's neck and neck. Biden loses to Trump 49-43. So and every point is going to be critical. It's going to be a tight race. And it's going to boil down to those 6% of voters in the 6 states, the battleground states. And if you say, what about Gretchen Whitmer? Well, she does the worst head-to-head against Trump, 47-42. Newsom is 48-43. Buttigieg, 47-43. Harris does the best, 47-45. She trails Trump. But that's better than Biden, 49-43. Biden head up against Trump. So that's a sign. If Joe Biden can survive this week, I think he goes on. But he may not be able to. Let's see. All right, that's it for our show today. Hey, we're here Monday through Friday. The Secret Podcast, it is secret. We don't tell anyone about it. We just do it. Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, talk about the news, talk about stuff. Find us on YouTube at Emil Amok 1, on Facebook at fb.com/EmilGuillermo.media or Emil Guillermo. On Twitter at Emil Amok. We end with a little meditation. You know, Tim Ryan, the guy who came out for Kamala, former representative from Ohio, meditator. He had the Meditator Caucus. I don't know if they still have it, but he meditated. You have to be a meditator if you're going to be in politics. You got to let it go. Let it go. Relax and release. I mean, people are throwing stuff at you left and right. You got to relax and release. Let it go. Little loving kindness. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Till next time. Mahal.